Hello and welcome to Leave It Love the channel. And this is a spiritual channel. This is a spiritual channel. I do return to senders. I burn ancestor money. It's a spiritual channel, and it's to help clear out the energies in your way. People always do stuff. Can't prove it. Can't prove that somebody did something. You can't prove. Well, I can't prove anything. I can't prove anything. My issue is people. I say I'm a spiritual person. Everyone is witchy in the family. Like, this is how I grew up. You already know when things happen to other people, so you got to pay attention to what the hell is going on to other people, because that's how you know who's doing the spell work. That's how I was brought up. Pay attention to what the fuck other people doing. They always like kiki. They always doing that, and it was like, ignore that. But pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention to who gets sick. Pay attention to who passes away. Pay attention to everything that's going on, because that's how you're going to know who's doing the spell work. And you don't even know who exactly is doing the spell work, because everyone lies and they can be attacking people, and then supernatural things will happen to these people. Accidents, weird things just start happening. Like, how the fuck that happened? I don't know how that happened. That somebody is doing work on them. That's how that happened. But it's, you can't prove it. I can't prove that. It's just an accident, or it's just something supernatural. It's just something weird. Something weird. A lot of health concerns is spell work. People doing sickness spells to make you sick, to cause swellness, for you to swell up in your body, in your feet, and you don't know what's wrong. Those are sickness spells. They'll do sickness spells to cause a permanent disease, a disease that you have to take medicine for the rest of your life, and there's no cure for it. That's sickness spells. They doing shit like that. When people get sick and they don't have, there's no cure, diabetes, cancer, all that. This is shit that, and for me, I believe it's spell work. Some people can have it and it can come from a natural cause, but I'm always around people doing spell work, and it's usually from spell work. Accidents start happening, crazy, supernatural. Yeah, it's spell work. Somebody fucking with you. And I learned early on to cleanse. I have to cleanse. I have to cleanse. I have to protect my energy. I have to, because I'm around evil. I can't prove that. I can't prove I'm around evil. So I always knew how to protect myself, take care of myself, and I always knew how things not to affect me. I didn't stay around people because I knew they was into things that I wasn't into, and then I wasn't trying to get stuck with their karma. I wasn't trying to get stuck with their bad luck, and I already got my own things going on within my own life. Yeah, I don't fuck with nobody. I don't talk with nobody. I don't hang out with none of them. It's like I got my own things going on. But whatever, you know. But the return of senders, I do those every day. It's to return energy back to wherever it's coming from. I do the splash. That's to clear away the energy. Like, you could go somewhere and people already doing shit. And it's like, when I spray that on me, it stays on my skin, and nothing that they're trying to do is going to work against me. I remember I would do it in the courthouse. I would wear oils and I would have the splash, and it was like my insides were always moving. They were always moving, but it's because they was always doing work on me. I can't prove that. I went to the doctor so many times to get all kinds of tests done on me. Like, what the hell is wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you, man. Your health. You're lucky. You're healthy. You're just obese. I'm just overweight. But your blood levels are fine. Your cholesterol is fine. You're not sick. You don't have any issues. Your health is perfectly fine, Miss Garcia. That's what I was told. But I couldn't understand why my insides was moving, why all this stuff was happening. It's from the spell word. You can't prove spell word. I go to the doctor, is nothing shows up. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? And I'm like, it's spell word, because I try to make sense of it. Like, what the hell is going on? So, you go to the doctor. Like, I go to the doctor. Like, I don't want to think it's fucking spell work. Like, it's not no spell work. But nah, I went to the doctor, checked everything, a colonoscopy, all that. Check everything. What the fuck is wrong with me? Like, why my insides is moving like that? Like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Nothing was wrong. Nothing's wrong with me. It's spell work. Can't prove spell work. So all I could do is just cleanse myself, protect myself. I ate alone. I didn't eat with people. Eating with me? Nah, I didn't eat from people. I always brought my own drink. I didn't. No. And what happened? The courthouse, it's so much black magic being done in the courthouse, but you can't prove it. So all I can prove is the papers. That's what my case is, 405 pages. It's conversations, it's the emails, it's incidents that happen. But I'm going to read. This is an insert that I have in the court case, 405 pages. But I wrote, like, I am a writer. I just write. And this is what I wrote, because this is from when I started. When I started working in the courthouse, these whores, it's just like, oh my God. I just couldn't believe like all the stuff that I was going through. And then I never had friends like that. Nobody knew my business but these people in the courthouse. Why? Because they know my confidential file. They look at it. They look at my information. They want to know what's going on. They even mailed letters to my home, handwritten letters to my home, but talking just straight shit about me. I burnt those letters. I threw them out. And then you tell someone, I'm telling the boss what's going on. And then they're like, oh, they want to get the police involved and they want to do their own investigate. But they're the ones writing letters to my home. They're the ones that's the culprit of everything. And then they're trying to help and act like they didn't do it. That's this is like a little fucking game with little kids and they think that you don't know what the hell is going on. Like, you sitting here and you just doing shit to me. You don't know me. I'm just here to do my fucking job. And this woman just wants to sit here and just fuck with my life. She knows my date of birth, knows my social, knows my place of residence, knows everything about me. And she would just sit there and just do shit and fuck with me, fuck with my life. And I'm just like, what can I do? I need the job. The kids was little and I had to stay in this fucking job. And it was always something. It was always chaos in the job. I go home, my house is peaceful. I don't have problems at home, but when I go to this job, it's always chaotic. It's always mess. It's always a problem. That's why I put in the lawsuit that she creates a hostile work environment because I'm like, yo, like how I'm at peace in my house. And once I get to work, it's like a whole chaos, a chaotic environment. But I'm gonna just read this insert. It's in the court case file. This file, I filed it since March 1st of 2024. No one has done anything. No one has looked at it. No one has looked at it. It has so much information in here. So many it's not even confidential. It's so many conversations with people that are supposed to do something and they did nothing. It's like they failed to do their job. And I'm just like, what am I supposed to do? It was so many problems. I didn't know what to do. So I fucking resigned. I was like, I keep telling these people what the hell is going on and nobody does anything. Let me just read. Paulina B.Garcia. That's my name, Paulina B.Garcia. My history with the Bronx Supreme Courthouse. My hire date was October 19th of 2006, working for the jury department in room 313. I'm going to say her name because she was a beautiful woman. She was always good to me and I loved her. And this woman was the woman that hired me. She hired me to work with her, Kay Amer was the one to hire me to work for her department. But, I requested a transfer to room 118. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to do different things. I'm young. I'm like, I just didn't want to do one thing. I wanted to do different things. So I became a notary, so on. I was transferred in 2007. I don't remember that exact date exactly, but 118, they got everything written down. I started in the passport department and on to notary, and I became a licensed notary there. I was taken out of the department for LC. That's a person. I'm not going to say, LC. I filed several complaints against her for harassment, defamation of character, and several other things. She violated my space, my home, and to ruin me in general. I just got hired in this fucking courthouse. I just got into 118 and this bitch is just fucking with me. I'm like, oh my God. And I started in I just started there, and they was already just fucking with me, and I'm just like, oh my God, like I need this job. And I would always complain. So I would go to management, I would go to HR, I would file it internal. That's what you're supposed to do. They never did anything. They hid the document, they sabotaged the document, or they'll pretend like they're getting the police involved, and then the police are their friends. The police don't even do anything. They just play along to make it look like they think that you don't know. Like I know what is supposed to be done, and they're not doing it. So it's like, I just let it slide, right? Harassment, defamation of character, and several other things. She violated my space, my home. Like bitch came to my home, putting shit under my door. From my understanding, Teresa Torres, she was always in it. Her hands was always in the chaos. She was always doing shit to people. I have no proof of that. It is hearsay. I filed these complaints with the personnel department, and one day I went to check on them, and they were not in my file. They were not in my file. They sabotaged the file. They took the file. I questioned it, and MRT says she doesn't know, but she's the only person in personnel department that has access to everyone's file. So, she clearly works for Teresa Torres, and nothing is confidential in that office. Everything in that office is told to Teresa Torres, and she sabotages documents. She does not do her job. And MRT is awful. She's just an awful person. She could be efficient with human services, but nothing is confidential with her. She's immediately on the phone telling all your business. And once Teresa Torres knows all your business, everybody knows all your business, all your personal confidential information. Everybody knows it. Your health information, your sickness, if you change insurance, everybody knows. Everybody knows what you did. If you go and you speak to MRT, everybody knows what the hell you did. And I'm just like, nothing is confidential. This was back in 2007. I still have the letters that are handwritten addressed to my husband at the time. I burnt those letters. I threw it away. I was like, I'm not working in the courthouse. So I threw all that away. I was like, I don't need these fucking memories. People just straight fucking with me, writing all this stuff about me. And I'm just like, yo, they don't even know me. Whatever. LC was the only one that knew my information because I thought she was my friend. She's not my friend. She is very close to Teresa Torres. I was moved to the docket department. While being the licensed notary, LC, being a commissioner of deeds, they moved me, the fucking licensed notary. A commissioner of deed is a license that's just given to you. You don't take a test. You just, it's given to you. They assign you, oh, you want to be a commissioner of deeds? Okay. No, they can't do legal documents. Like they can't do certain things. They can't sign a power of attorney. They can't do certain things. So a commissioner of deeds is not really a notary. It's a notary, but they can't notarize every document. I was the licensed notary, but they moved me. Why? Because I'm the new one. I'm the new employee. Whatever. I was a better worker, and I could read. Like she couldn't read. I could read English, but I was the one removed from the department because LC is one of Teresa Torres's favorites. This is just the beginning of the garbage that goes on here in the Bronx County Clerk's office. While in the docket department is where I was entering things against your credit. So if you owe a car, you owe a credit card, you owe somebody and they want their money, yeah, they're filing papers to put this on your credit. I entered it on against your credit, or I did the satisfactions to satisfy the order of the judgment. Whatever was on your credit, I clear it out with the satisfaction. That's what I was doing in the docket department. So the docket department is stuff that is on your credit. Once it's on your credit, once it's in the courthouse, it goes on your credit automatically. And we would do, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of stuff. But that's what the docket department was. It's like if you want to check on a home, check on a property, or anything like that, we would need the house and the lot number. And that's how we would search the property or anything on your credit. But here it goes. While in dockets, I was fine. There was no problems. When I was out, I always put in a slip in advance. I never called out. I was surprised when they offered me to work as a cashier. I was like, cashier. So I'm in, everything is fine in dockets, and then they want me to be the cashier. I'm like, just weird, but I took it, but I was still a grade 10, but they want me to be a cashier. You need 16 and up, the title. Of course, I took the position thinking that things would change for me. They never did. I worked in the cage. That's what they called the cashier. They called the cashier department the cage. So I worked in the cage with DC, and she goes by DC now. But a different last name. She got married. She is married now. I worked the cage, and Teresa never wanted to teach me how to do the closeout. So it's like, we're collecting the money throughout the day, but I never closed out. I never did close out because they never wanted me to handle the money. So it was like I was taking the money that's coming in and out the courthouse. I processed the credit card transactions, I processed the cash transactions, I processed everything. It's like I'm by the book. I do everything the way I'm supposed to do it. You know? All right. But she never wanted to teach me the closeout because I wasn't a cashier. I'm just a court aide. And you have me working as a cashier, but you don't want to pay me or give me a title as a cashier. So you're using me because I'm efficient and I'm good at what I do, good at work. I work. Like if I wasn't good, why would you put me as a cashier? It's like it's common sense. If you can't trust me, why would you put me as a cashier? You know? But people don't think. They just want to whatever. She would always let DC do it. The closeout. She didn't want to teach me how to do closeout, but she would always let DC do the closeout. I always helped the public and did the work. DC takes constant breaks and is always with Teresa Torres, because they are best friends. And to the point, Teresa is the godmother to DC's adopted daughter. It's disgusting the way it is here. There came a time no one came to work and I was the only one there, and they wanted me to do closeout and I couldn't do it. I was like, I don't know how to do it because they never taught me. And I had to explain to the county clerk at the time that I could not do closeout because I was never taught to do closeout. And I don't think they wanted me to do it anyway, since DC always did it. When I told the county clerk that Teresa comes and wants to teach me the next day and wants to pretend that I always knew how to do it, do closeout all along. I never knew, but she wants to pretend to her boss because the county clerk is her boss, but she controls the county clerk and she's the administrator. It's like, how the fuck is, whatever. It's like this office is a circus. I always kept my cool, but I eventually grew tired of being overworked and underpaid. I spoke to my union, the union representative, and I was advised to write a letter and put it in writing my request for a cashier's title. I was told what would come out, like what could happen. Like, okay, you requesting a title now. So, they could either cease and desist or they could give me the title. They chose ceased and desist, and I was moved to the record room in 118. The record room is like the scanning department. This is where I currently am now. I have been working there for some time, since September of 2012. The time I asked for the cashier title of a cashier, I was moved because they didn't want to give it to me. They didn't want to give me that title. These two court, they have two court aides working now, the same as before. There was an issue with my time and leave, where Teresa wanted to know where I was at all times. It's just crazy. My supervisor at the moment was the one that signed my slips, and I did not have to tell Teresa Torres, what I'm doing, because she's not my supervisor. She's not my supervisor. She's not signing my slips. She's not approving my time, but she wants to keep track and monitor me. So my supervisor at the moment was the one that signed my slips, and I did not have to tell Teresa Torres, and I did not work under her. There was a time I was sick in the hospital and missed a few days of work. And she screamed. She screamed on me and ordered me to tell her when I'm scheduled to take off. And my supervisor is no longer required to sign my slips for leave. My slips for leave have to go directly to her, Teresa Torres. After that, I was taken off more frequently since I have the time, and I am unhappy where I have been forced to work. I did bring all of my hospital documents and filed them with the personnel department. I'm a spiritual person. I never get sick. I never get sick, and it's always spiritual work. It's spiritual things, being spiritually attacked. Like this bitch, she's always attacking me, always doing spiritual work, but I can't prove spiritual work. I was always having issues and problems. I was like, and I didn't know what was wrong. And it was with my health. And it was because I didn't know spiritual things like that. Being in the courthouse, I had to learn because everybody's doing it. Everybody in that courthouse was doing spiritual work. And Teresa Torres is the administrator, and she was doing spiritual work on everyone. She was doing black magic on everyone in that office. She liked the chaos. She liked it when it was crazy and chaotic in that office. If it wasn't chaotic in the office, she wasn't satisfied with herself. She thought she had a boring day because the office wasn't chaotic. I'm like, this bitch is crazy. But, and I was in the hospital for like 3 days. I was sick. I don't know what the hell happened to me. I was just sick, you know? And she had such a fit because she didn't know where I was, because she's not my supervisor. So I would tell my supervisor where I am, and he would know what's going on, like how she was always on top of me and always wanted to know my business, always wanted to know what I'm doing. He would know because she's asking him questions about me. I'm like, this bitch is fucking crazy. I don't know what is wrong with this woman, but whatever. With time, R, I'm gonna just say Harry. Harry, the supervisor of the department, stepped down as supervisor, and that's when FS comes in. Harry has been the supervisor for 4 years, working as a court aide. So he's a court aide, and he's forced to be the supervisor of the department, but they don't want to give him a title as a supervisor. So I'm just like, you know. So FS comes in. FS is an employee from OCA. They kicked him out of OCA, so they was like, "Oh, go work in the courts." He was a bad employee with OCA, so now they put him in the courthouse and they make him a supervisor. And he was bad in OCA. That's why he's in the courthouse. And then he's here just to watch. He's not here to do work. He's here to watch what everyone is doing. It's like he's a rat. That's what he is. FS comes in because Harry stepped down as supervisor for 4 years, and he's been working as a court aide. He should have been the supervisor. He should have had the title of a supervisor. But, Teresa Torres wants to take advantage of people, of employees, like forcing me to be the cashier, but then doesn't want to acknowledge me as a cashier. But I was the cashier, but didn't want me to have a title, but wanted me to do the work. I'm like, this bitch. You asked her, and then I was removed the next day. Like, oh shit, get her out of here. And then when I left, whoever was in the cage, they stole $86,000. I'm like, you know what? Thank God. Thank God they moved me out of there, because I was like, yo, if the money would have came up missing and I was there, they would have blamed me for that money. And it was actually the nephew of the county clerk. I'm like, but it's like the system is corrupt. You can't prove it. Everybody knows each other. They're all related. It's crazy. He has requested to have the title of a supervisor several times, Harry, and every time he is denied by management. He never went to the union or above them, but he knew they did spiritual work. I knew they did spiritual work. We would talk about the shit that they're doing together. We would talk about it because it's like, oh my God. But he knew how to defend himself. So I'm like, he's all right. He's all right. But he knew what was going on. It's spiritual work. You can't talk about this shit. But it's like when people know the spiritual work, you know what's going on. You know what they're doing. You know what's happening. And then you can't even talk about it with regular people because they don't know. They don't know spiritual work. But it's obvious. It's fucking obvious what's going on here. But it's like they don't know. People, not everyone is like raised or brought up to know spirituality. You got to figure that shit out. You got to go through some things in life and be like, and you realize it's spiritual work. People are doing spiritual things. Let's see. FS came to the department and is very disappointing to have a supervisor that doesn't work. As Teresa Torres' instructions while he was being introduced to the department, he is not here to work. He is here to watch and observe you. These were her exact words. The man refuses to help the public. He doesn't want to answer the phones or anything. He sits there and he clears his throat when a customer approaches and he doesn't say anything. It is very rude. He is at the front desk with the phone, and he's the first person that is noticed. We have to stop whatever we're doing because he's here in the front desk. He's right here. Then the customers come, and he's right here, and he will not help them. The phone is right here, ringing. And he won't answer the phone, and he's right here. He's right here, and he's not going to answer the phone. So we're in the back. And we got to stop whatever we're doing and come over and answer the phone because he doesn't want to answer the phone. We have to stop whatever we're doing and come over and help the customer because he doesn't want to do anything. He's like, I'm not here to work. You work. You answer the phone. You do this. And you do. I was like, this bastard. And he was the one that was messaging, emailing Teresa Torres back and forth. About us, what we was doing, when we went to the bathroom, how long we took to the bathroom. Like, this is how it was in the office. I'm just like, oh, I hate this fucking job. I fucking hate this job. And I was always talking to the union. I was always talking to humans. I was always talking to people outside of the courthouse because everyone in the courthouse is corrupt and they all know each other. And it's like, they're not going to help you. You're just a regular person. You're not family. They don't, they're just gonna sit there and fuck with your life. I hated. This was the worst job I ever had. Like I used to work in what's that? Like a health aide. I was a health aide. Like before, like I was in college and I was like, that's what I did before I went to college. And I thought that job was bad. It wasn't even bad. I used to help the handicapped people. And it wasn't bad. But dealing with spiritual things and dealing with, this kind of work, like someone that abuses their power, is just the worst. It's the worst experience I ever had. But it made me grow, it made me heal, it made me evolve, it made me pay attention. Like pay attention to the shit that's going on, because a lot of stuff is happening and then you got to put it together, because nobody's going to tell you what the fuck is happening. Everybody's doing spiritual things and then you don't know what the fuck is happening. Whatever. These were her exact words, that he's here to watch and observe you. The man refuses to help the public. He sits there, clears his throat when a customer approaches, and he doesn't say anything. It's very rude. He is in the front desk with the phone. The first person that is noticed is him. We have to stop what we are doing and help the public, and to answer the phone for him because he refuses to do anything. It has become a problem so bad that they brought in an employee, a fellow employee. She has injured her wrist. She broke both of her wrists in an accident. To me, that was like a supernatural thing. I'm like, oh my God, like you broke both of your wrists. How that happened? And it was an accident. She had an accident and she flipped. The motorcycle flipped, or she fell off the motorcycle and broke her wrist. I'm just like, but I know that they do spiritual work against people. I'm not the only one that they did spiritual work on. And I'm sure they was doing it to this girl because she's pretty, she's smart, she helps the people. She was a good person, she's young. You know, Teresa Torres is old. She's old and she's fat and she's like, like, ew. And then it's like, I don't know. I guess because she's like a demon to me. Like she's evil. I can't look at her any kind of way but evil. Like you're a walking demon and nobody sees you as a demon. Like I'm the only one that sees this bitch as a fucking demon. And I'm just like, oh my God. And then she got all this power. Crazy. The girl, she had injured her wrist and she can't work. Like she can't do work. Like she can't lift files. Like she can't do heavy work. So they brought her upstairs so that she can answer the phones and she can assist the customers as they come. But if they have a file or they have something, she can't pick it up and she can't do, she can't do the work. Like, so that they brought her up there because of her injury, but you still got to work. You still need your job. And she's just there to answer the phones and help the public. When he first came upstairs, he told us that everyone up here is scheduled to be terminated. FS. I was like, I didn't understand why he would say it unless that's what was told to him. He gave us an evaluation to believe that within a month of working in the Bronx County Clerk, he is evaluating us and doing and approving our chronos. The chronos is our timesheets, because we had to do our timesheets every day. Not every day, but we had to approve the timesheets. That's how we get paid. We have an ID. We got to clock in with the ID. And he's looking at all our shit, because he's assigned to observe us, to watch us, to email her, to go back and forth and tell her everything that we're doing. Like he was her spy. That's basically what it was. During the evaluation, he stated that this is just the beginning so that he can get to know us. In September, there will be another evaluation, and by that time, he will know if we will be terminated. moved, and so forth. It's like when you're in the courthouse, they can't fire you. They can't, you can sue them for firing you. You can dispute it. It's like they have to have something against you. It's like, what are you going to fire a person for? But they want to implement fear. They want to scare you into staying there. Like, I already hated this fucking job. Now you want to say, oh, that you're going to get fired? Management is giving him the authority and approval. So when we go to management, they do nothing. They simply don't care. An FS follows instructions by management. He spends his days emailing people back and forth. So in this document, it has the emails because they're so stupid. Like, they get an email from someone and then they'll respond and write another email, and then all the other emails are attached. And it's like, so you see what their whole conversation was about. And I'm just like, wow, that's how I saw what was being said about me, or what was being, that's how I saw it. It's like, they're so stupid. They're just like, I just can't believe like the levels of stupid. But whatever. you know and I would email Teresa Torres about this job position and stuff, and she must have blocked me. She must have blocked me because I try to email her now, and then it comes back like I can't email this person or whatever. So I'm like, she was either fired or they revoked her email. And I'm like, but this bitch is evil. She's evil. I was like, she must have just blocked me because she hates me. She can't stand my ass. She's fucking evil. But whatever, whatever. FS is given the authority to approve employees' timesheets now. He monitors our breaks, our lunch, and how long it takes to use the restroom. If you leave the premises and don't let him know, when you come back, he will pull you to the side and tell you that you're not supposed to do that. Do so, that you have to let him know where you are at all times. We were told that he would write us up and take our time previously, so to say we were warned. When he actually took my time, he did not make it clear. It was just taken. When I questioned his actions, he was not clear, and he threatened to take more time if he felt like it. The conversation we had, I recorded it because I wanted a record. I wanted to record what he was going to say. So when I go to approve my chronos, the time is taken out, and without an explanation, I spoke to my union rep, Steve Schwartz. That was his name. And he advised me to file a payroll discrepancy form. I did so on Tuesday, and the form was never filed. That's when I contacted OCA, the Office of Court Administration, to make sure the form was received, and the form was never received. Today I received the form back, and it's typed, and the signature looks very similar to Teresa Torres's signature. I have worked with her in the cashiers, and she had to sign all of the deposit slips. I know the way she writes, and the letters do not seem like it came from OCA. It's like she forged it. Teresa Torres forged it to cover her own ass, because they're sabotaging the documents, they're hiding documents. You can't prove this shit, and this is like all this stuff is happening, and then it's like nobody does anything. Nobody does anything, and then there's no one you can go to because I'm going to the union, I'm going to OCA, I'm going to the inspector generals, I'm emailing these people. This has a lot of information. On May 4th of 2013, I took the test for the court revenue test. It takes about 4 months for me to get the results. I will stick it out here, and when I'm called for the position, I will take it wherever it may be. I don't care where they put me. You can put me in Rochester County, put me anywhere. I don't fucking care. Just get me out of the Bronx. I did not tell the office that I took this examination. I did request a transfer, and it was denied. I understand because I don't have a title. I don't have a title. So on May 8th, 2013, Teresa Torres calls me to her office to expedite my transfer. I told her I can't be transferred, and I showed her the general letter from OCA, like is like that you can't be transferred. Like OCA, the Office of Court Administration, is telling me that I can't be transferred because I don't have a title. She says she's going to try her best to get me transferred as soon as possible. I'm like, oh shit. She warned me. She would tell whatever county that I go to that I was a bad employee, a troublemaker, an instigator, and a problem. With her trying to do all of this, it confirmed all of my thoughts about her. Like, she's a demon, demon walking. She doesn't like me. She had FR there. FR is the counsel for the Bronx County Clerk. The counsel is an attorney. So you want an attorney present. You want a witness. Like you speaking to somebody, be like, oh, I need a witness. I'm not going to talk to you and it's just me and you and it's my word against your word. But then she had FR there. So it's still my word against her word. And then he's going to agree with whatever the fuck she's saying because he's a corrupt, old, he's old. Like he's so old. I don't know how. I don't even know if he's still alive. Like he's so fucking old, older than dirt. He knows all the corruption. He knows all the tricks. He knows all the games. He knows all the players. You know, that's why he's still the counsel for the Bronx County Clerks because he's just as corrupt as the court system. FR there as well. And he all he had to say was that I make people not like me. That's what he said to me. Like I make people not like me. And he is saying this while reading the letter I wrote last year in September when I requested the title of a cashier. So it's like I'm speaking to you and I'm telling you what it is, and you don't like what I have to say, so then I'm a problem. You know, it's like you owe whatever. In this office, Teresa Torres controls and manipulates the entire office. This is my story. Yes, it is long, but it is my truth. This is 3 pages, but it's in the court file. You know, I write everything down, everything that was happening, everything that happened to me because they're doing black magic. They're doing things to mess up with your mind, to mess with things. So I knew that I needed to keep a paper trail of everything. I knew that I needed to write everything down. Everything that happens, I had to write it down because they're, you know, they fucking with me. They're doing things to me. They're doing spiritual things to me. And all I could do was just protect myself and write everything down, keep a paper trail of it. All of this was when I was an employee. The court case, the reason why I'm suing the courthouse is because of the sabotage of my notary license, and the sabotage of my employment. Like I requested an employment. Where are my documents? I never received a letter stating that my documents were received. I never received a rejection notice because, you know, I applied for other places. And when the position is not granted, it's rejected and you're still notified. Oh, you haven't been chosen for the position, but we're going to keep your records on file. They'll tell you something. They'll reject you some kind of way, but you are going to be informed. I was never informed. They have my documents. I don't know what they did with it. It's like they sabotaged it and they sabotaged my license. Like I had to do all this work to get my notary license. And then to my surprise, because I quit, I resigned in 2020. And then the Bronx County Clerk lost the contract with the Department of State. I'm like, oh shit. Like I started working there and I was processing the notaries. I processed it, you know? And then how they lose the contract with the Department of State. So now you no longer have to go to the courthouse to file your notary license. You have to go directly to the Department of State. And I'm like, wow, it must be because they done sabotage so many people's documents because I'm not the only one. They sabotage many people's document on purpose. And it's like, and there's nothing you can do because nobody corrects an issue. No one says anything about the issue. It's like you can be a fucked up person. You cannot do your job and you'll still have your job. And it's a government job. How can you accept corruption like this? How is this allowed? But this is what they want. So when you do a good job, they're like, oh, you make people not like you. Why? Because I do my fucking job? Because I do a good job. I make people not like me. I couldn't believe like that's what this old man said. He's old. He's so old. Like I don't even know. He's just ancient, like old. I'm like, oh my God. And then they're going to him for his advice and his opinion. And old people, they get senile. They don't remember. They're not as fucking great. So you're gonna ask this old man for legal advice. He's the counsel. He represents the courthouse. And I'm like, he's too old. Like he needs to be home in his bed or something. Like he doesn't even need to be in this office. And it's full of chaos. You can't prove it. But Teresa Torres loved chaos, and I say this horde's name so many times because I want her to say something to me. I want her to say, oh, I'ma sue you for whatever the fuck I'm saying. Bitch, you know what? I have a file. Acknowledge my court case file because she's all over. She's all over this court case file. She's all over the problems that's in this case. She's all over the sabotage of my documents. She's all over it. She did it. So I'm saying her name now because I'm not scared to say her name because you don't want to acknowledge me with the court case. Okay. Okay. So now I'm gonna talk about you. That's all. That's all it is. I'm gonna talk about you. I'm gonna just talk about all the shit. All of the shit that this woman has put me through. This was the beginning, like from when I was first there. Like I ended in the courthouse. This was when I was in the scanning department, still in room 118. When I resigned, I was in the jury department. I went back to Kay Amer. I was like, she's just such a beautiful woman. And I just thank God for her that I started with Kay Amer and then I ended with Kay Amer. I resigned. And I didn't want to resign, but I resigned because this woman, Teresa Torres, was still on my ass. I'm like, what the entire fuck? I can't work like this. I can't work like this. I'm not going to work the rest of my life like this with this woman on my ass like this. I was like, I'll find something else to do with my life. You can always find something else to do. You don't have to stay stuck. I was like, I'm not going to stay stuck. I'm not going to be in this job. And I hate this fucking job. Did I ever tell you that I hated this fucking job? I hated this fucking job. I hated it. But I had to endure it. I had to deal with it. I had to put up with all of this shit, all of the black magic. I had to deal with it. I had to tolerate it. I had to act like I don't know that these whores is doing black magic and they doing this shit to everybody. They fucking with everybody. Chaos is all over that office. Doing chaos magic. And I'm just like, oh my God. Every day it was always chaos. It was always some shit. It was always around some demons. And I was there for 14 years. I was like, oh my God. When I left, I'm like, I was just so happy and relieved to be out of there. I'm like, I'm out of here. I don't got to come back here. And then I had to come back to file my license and for the job application. And then they sabotaged it. They ruined it. And I'm like, I'm going to sue them. I'm going to sue them for the sabotage of my documents. And then I'm like, and I'm going to include all of the documents that I previously filed that no one acknowledged within the unified court system. So I'm suing the whole unified court system for their failure to acknowledge the problem. What's the problem? Teresa Torres is the problem. But, and I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it every day, every day. I'm going to talk about this court case. I'm going to talk about the courthouse every day until someone fucking responds to me. They were supposed to respond to me within 35 days. They failed to respond. whatever. Life goes on. Life goes on. Lead with love. Stay positive. Vibe high. And life goes on. Bye.